the idea of productivity towards the company itself is like something that it is a goal for a company, which is needed by a company for developing the company itself to be a bigger company and also for become a better company itself. We believe that actually these kinds of conditions should be subsidized by a company itself, so the workers can work in high productivity towards so the workers could give the better productivity toward the company, so the company have their own works, and that's why they can develop themselves. They can purchase something from their works because of their productivity, and because of that they will have a lot of benefits toward their own development inside their own company itself. Here I would like to give to you some definitions and also some explanation upon on how that a company is actually, we would like to increase the productivity itself by allowing our own workers to watch the porn movies itself in the working hours itself. So here I would like to point three kinds of point right here. Why it should be by increasing, or why the increasing of productivity itself should need the porn movies itself, and why it should be done in working hours itself. First, I would like to define several things. First, let's see on how that actually the productivity itself is that on how we are having the progress toward our works, or in other case we purchase something in our works, and that's why in doing this kinds of works we need times, and that's why by calculating the time that we have spent with the works that we have done, that's called productivity itself. During the productivity itself, there are some elements that should be have by the workers, so the workers could have productivity itself. First, I would like to give to you that the workers need imagination inside the works itself. What I see is that on how that imagination is very important for them. That I would like to explain later. Next on that I would like to give to you is that why it should be why we have to do this in the working hour itself. First, let's see that actually the workers is the people who has aged around 15 till 65 years old, that they are having those kinds of age, meaning that they are quite mature. It's not enough, and they have facing the puberty itself, meaning that they have understand about something like sex itself, and that's why we see that actually the porn movies is something that actually match toward them to watch. Because of what? Because first they have faced the puberty itself, and most of them have already married. Even though they are not married, yet, that doesn't mean that they are not triggered to watch even those porn movies itself. Because however, in the next future, they have to have their own family, and in making family, it's not simply by having relation, but also we have to do the sex itself, which is the sex is actually the basic necessary for the adults people itself. We see on how that these kinds of porn is actually something which is matched toward the works itself. Second of all, I would like to give to you is that on how that actually the resting time which is set by the workers itself for example, they are working in 40 hours in a week, meaning that they have to spend 8 hours in a day. They still need the resting time around a half and an hour during their working time. It's not simply because they are doing all those 8 hours in a row, like simply in a day, but they have to split it by the resting time itself. But we see on how the condition in Indonesia that happens in Indonesia, that people using their own resting time by having lunch and also by praying itself. But these kinds of cases actually not simply can release their pain, release their burdens, and also give them a refreshment toward their mind. It is enough for them for a while, but on how we would like to spend our first 4 hours and our last 4 hours to simply doing our work. Let's see on how when we are studying in a university, when we have spent 2.5 hours or 3 SKS for having a class, we will feel so burdened, we will feel so bored with the condition itself. However, we cannot make our mind simply stick on that. We have to make some refreshment like chatting with our friends and also and others. But this can be done simply by chatting to others. But we have to keep doing our works while that we have our refreshment toward our head lessons. We see on how that actually the porn movies is actually to match one lesson. First, that I would like to give to you that actually what are the good values of the porn movies itself. First is that, well, we see that, yeah, please.
So, do you watching porn in resting time in college time?
Yes.
That's not of POI.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sometimes. Thank you. So actually, why actually there are good values inside the porn movie itself? First, the movie is something that we need to entertain ourselves. Why it is entertaining? Because it is amusing us. Why there is something amusing? Because it is interesting for us to watch. Why it is interesting? Because we are as an adult people, we need something which is interesting ourselves. Just besides doing our other activities such socializing toward others, but we need our basic necessary like the sex itself. We also need to learn from the sex itself on how we have to treat our partner when we are doing sex itself. Not only simply not only simply implementing that toward when we have sex with our partner, but also when we are working, we have to treat some others like on how we should treat people or human itself. However, these kinds of value are actually available in some genre of the porn movies. We see that actually such other movies which show that actually passion, loss are given toward others, that could be given towards the people who watch that lesson. We see on how that actually another imagination are actually created during when we watch porn movies. On how it is created, simply because when we watch the movie itself, on how the movie is built, like on how the case of the movie is built, are actually coming from simply like our daily activity. When there is later on there is something that will trigger it toward another content such as the sex itself, meaning that there is an imagination that should be triggered from this kind of action elements. But it is not limited when we are doing our works. Then when we are stuck in our works, we simply think that we would like to distract our mind and we do the sex itself. No, but we have to use our imagination on how that actually implementing our imagination and our mind that could trigger us to do we would like to elaborating our own methodology on how facing this kinds of problems. So facing this kind of solvency make us actively thinking different way or different perspective on facing the problem itself. Well, we see that actually this kinds of watching the movies itself should be watched privately. So meaning that not all people can actually knowing us that or even gapping us that we are watching the movie itself, because basically it is our basic right to watch the movie itself. Thank you.